Good morning. I'm Scott Clark.
And I'm Peggy Hurson.
And we are coming to you from the coffee shop.
Yay!
It is a soggy Seattle Sunday morning. And we are here at El Diablo.
It's March 16th.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Rick's not here,
Tuesday.
so we have to make
Rick
sure.
is not here today. Miss him.
Yeah.
Ooh, Rick.
His work is interfering with his fun.
And his ability to sleep, it sounds like.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
He said he has to be at work at 2 a.m. tomorrow night. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, when does he sleep then? I don't think he does. I think that's what he's doing, is staying home or sleeping in tonight so that he can just stay up all night.
He's
right?
gonna age so fast.
I feel so bad for him.
You need sleep.
I would slowly die, which I keep anyway.
Oh yeah, I know. I can feel my heart starting to die. Just the liver hurting, everything hurting, nothing healing.
Yes.
No wonder he's sick all the time. He gets sick a lot.
It's true, he does, and it's a really physically robust job.
I mean,
And so
the upside of that, he's lost weight, but
right.
the downside, he's gonna die.
That is a pretty steep downside.
Yeah. But anyway, we're here.
Anyway.
We're here at El Diablo Coffee on Queen Anne Hill.
It's pitched as a Cuban coffee place, which I have to say, they do cold brew.
They do?
And yeah, I got the cold brew. It's excellent.
Yeah,
so
thumbs
on
up
the iced coffee train, this is one of the good ones, and they do their own. He was telling me about it. They do their own cold brew here, and so even like Stumptown places, they have cold brew, but it's bottled somewhere, and it tastes really soapy. But this tastes like the cold brew I make at home.
Cool, so it's fresh.
Awesome.
That's probably the difference between the bottled and the fresh. Is that
I'm sure.
It ferments probably somehow in the bottle.
Maybe, or even I think it's just the quality of the water they use. Because you know how, have you ever been in a house that has a water softener?
No.
They used to be really popular. Like, I remember staying at relatives' houses in like the 80s, and people would have water softeners, and the water tastes vaguely soapy.
So it just runs it through
like
minerals,
kind of,
like salts and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it sort of just soaks up the water, and like that's what it tastes like to me in some places that have the cold brew in bottles. It just tastes vaguely soapy, and I wonder if they're just using like some kind of like water that's not just tap water.
Right.
And so it just has a different quality.
It has a distilled.
But it's very good. But it is, since it's a Cuban coffee place, they have to have the obligatory crappy reggae mix going in the background.
Speaking of reggae mix, okay, we're gonna go back because we're gonna get right into this.
Wait, I have to say why I just hate reggae. No, I guess I don't have to elaborate. I just think reggae is the most brain-numbing music of all time, and it's always the same 4 songs, and it's like.
That's why it's really popular. It's really.
And my time in Ghana was 6 months of that, just that, nonstop.
It's even in the elevators.
24/7. I don't think they have elevators in Ghana. In fact, I know they don't have elevators in Ghana. But just like the ever-present reggae beat going, slowly drove me crazy.
Okay, this is gonna go back. We got to do a little bit of time travel here, but go back when we did our podcast in Renton by the Jimi Hendrix.
Renton.
And you mentioned that
I hate Jimi Hendrix
because he sounds like every reggae music.
No, that's not what I said.
Yeah.
I don't think Jimi Hendrix sounds like reggae.
Yeah, that's what you came out. All you had to do is listen to any reggae.
I think I was probably lumping them together.
Oh, okay.
Because I both hate Jimi Hendrix and I
didn't
hate
catch
reggae.
it. I didn't really catch it until I listened to it, and then somebody
you were
else.
Going back.
I was called out. It was mentioned once before. I was going to mention it a long time ago, and I forgot all about it. And Keegan wanted to really know. He's like, "Why did you lump it in with reggae?"
If I sounded like I was saying that, I don't actually think that. But I group them in my mind as things that people say are cool that I actually really dislike. And the reason I dislike Jimi Hendrix is because his songs are just kind of noise, and that's why I lump them together with reggae, is because there are like 5 reggae songs that are like the most beautiful songs on earth, but the rest of them are just noise. Like they don't really go anywhere, they don't really have anything exciting about them, they're just noise. And most Jimi Hendrix songs are like just endless noise, and like I'm sure seeing him live, he's one of those people who like I listen to songs and go, I bet live this is great.
Right.
But recorded, there's nothing.
Right.
There's no build. There's no. It's just like.
You know, he had actually mentioned that too. He had actually mentioned that when he was like in his career, like towards the end of it before he died, it was not fun anymore for him.
Oh, really?
So it was because it became too studio. So like if you listen to his earlier
he was more
stuff,
like a jam musician.
Yeah.
He wanted to do
he just wanted to get
half-hour
out.
sets in the park.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I'm sure, because there's like jazz, for example. I love jazz live. Not that into jazz recorded. Like I'll listen to some, like Ella Fitzgerald. Some of the singers I like listening to it recorded. But like just like a jazz band going to town live is the greatest thing on earth. And if I was just to play it recorded and I'm not watching them, I totally lose interest.
100% agree on that. But there's a thing we do every summer for the last few summers now is go to.
Me about this.
It's called Jazz Under the Stars at PLU, and it's really cool. And it's not the same band every time, so it's a really. Sometimes it's like yawn. This is kind of boring. It's a little bit. It would be like something you'd hear at a dentist office.
Just kind of smooth
jazz.
Jazz.
Like a mellow something to put you in a good mood or put you to sleep.
Yeah.
But some of it, like really cool. You're sitting there popping your fingers. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's just performance quality versus like what you think of or what you want when you're just listening to music in a different setting versus sitting and going, I'm listening to a music performance,
Right.
But speaking of music, I joined a band this week.
Are you serious? Is it a girl band?
I joined a ukulele band, and it's all female. It's actually some of the girls from Seattle Women's Chorus who, one of them is a hardcore ukulele player. Like, she takes lessons, and like that's her instrument. And which ukulele is kind of a funny thing to have that be your instrument because it's probably the easiest to just pick up and learn to play because the chords are like one finger chords. Like really, it's half as complicated as a guitar, and I think chords on guitar are really easy. But she's like a really, really good player, and so she got her ukulele teacher to agree to do ukulele arrangements for a little band. And so there's 7 of us, and 6 of us are playing ukulele, and then we have a percussionist, and we're going to do cover songs, and we're going to sing and play ukulele.
That would be awesome.
Isn't it a great idea?
When are you going to be doing this?
Well, we're starting this week. I just bought my ukulele last week, and I've been practicing it at home, and it's great except that my second string keeps going out of tune, and I think I just need to restring that string because I think it's too loose on the fret or on the knob, and so it's like slowly losing tension.
Okay.
Because the knob is fine. It's weird. Anyway, it's wrapped too many times around the peg, and I need to go in and like redo it. Yeah. So anyway, but we're gonna start practicing.
And they're a vinyl string, yeah? There's like a vinyl string, or is it metal?
Yeah, you can get vinyl. You can get. They're almost like classical guitar strings.
Right.
They're the same stuff as that.
Okay.
You can get metal strung though if you want, and they actually have banjo style ukuleles.
Oh, nice.
I was this close to buying one because it sounded so cool.
They're not
I was
cheap.
Like, oh no! Well, the banjo style ones were like $150.
No.
The ukulele I got was $50, and it sounds really good. Like I was playing the other ones, and like between the $50 range and the $150 range, they all sounded the same.
Right.
So I just got the low end one.
Right.
But then I could see myself like if I was really into it, buying a cool looking. Like they had some really nice. Like $150 ukuleles. And I was like, well, if this is something I do for 10 years, a couple years from now, I could see myself buying a really cool looking
investing
one.
into.
Yeah, like one of the really warm sounding,
Right.
But that's the fun thing about ukulele too, is you kind of like the plink, 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 plink.
Right.
Like that's half the point, is that it's kind of like a cheerful,
and they don't
sound.
take up a lot of room.
No.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Like, throw them in your purse and go. Easy.
I throw everything in my purse and go.
I know, you have such a big purse.
Yeah, I do.
So we're going to start practicing soon, and our idea was that like women's chorus goes April and May and the beginning of June, and then has like a 2-month break in the summer, and then goes like September, October, November,
so it's
has a break in December, and then goes January, February, and then breaks for March.
So it's something you can do to fill the gap.
In the gaps. And so we'll just, we're going to practice, every other week. And then when we have a big break from chorus, practice during the chorus rehearsals that we would have had.
Cool, that sounds fun.
Yeah, and we were thinking about doing some YouTube videos and playing it, stuff like we have a couple talent shows in the women's chorus that we thought we'd play at, or parties, and if there's a folk music festival that's low key that we could throw our name in at some point.
Just go out in the park and play?
Maybe. I think it would be way fun. And it's a cool group of girls. The people in it are people that I enjoy, and so I think it's going to be really, really cool. And we don't have a name yet, and I was trying to think of a really funny, one of my favorite names I came up with at one point was Jurassic Narc.
Oh, okay.
And that was going to be my gangster rap band. But I'm really bad at naming things, and so hopefully one of the other people will come up with a genius name. There's 7 of us.
7.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what's a good name for 7? What is 7?
No idea. I don't think we should lock ourselves into a number though, because I'm sure 1 or 2 will.
But
crap out.
It could. Oh yeah, that's true. Well, no, it's just like Ben Folds 5. There was only 3 of them.
There were only 3 of them. I know, that was the joke, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Ben Folds.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm really excited, and when it was funny because when my friend I waved, she put the notice up, and she's like, "Hey, who plays ukulele?" And I want to start this band, and I read it, and I was like, I totally want to do that. And I was like, I don't really play ukulele. I'm like, meh, how hard can it be? And actually
how many strings is it? 4 strings?
I used to have this roommate who, she had a ukulele for a long time, and I would play around with it, but she would play it pretty consistently, and I had a bunch of guitars.
And so, every time somebody mentions ukulele, I always think of Little Tiny Tim. You know
Little Tiny Tim?
Just Tiny. I misspoke. Just Tiny Tim.
Oh, the musician Tiny Tim?
Yeah. Just Tip to. Yeah.
Does he play ukulele?
Not anymore. He's dead.
Oh, is he? Yeah. I'm trying to think. I can't think of a single song.
He was Tiptoe Through the Tulips.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was bad. He was horrible. But that was his joke. The guy was he was freaky looking. And played this ukulele and sang.
That's
just
funny.
Horrendous.
Right on.
Yeah.
I think it'll be really fun. I'm excited about it. It'll at least be something. I don't know. It's funny because I'll join 10 things and then quit 3 of them and then join 5 more things and quit 2 of those, and because I'm kind of sifting through things of this sounds fun but this is obnoxious, and
but then that's
this
how you
is
know
fun and this is stupid, and I feel this is because women's chorus is music, but it's also a lot of hassle because it's huge concerts,
right?
And
you got all these people you got to wrangle.
Exactly, and it's a little bit irritating in that way. And so I'm hoping this will be also music, but just people farting around doing whatever we feel like and having fun. And so I feel it'll be a nice contrast when I'm annoyed with women's chorus.
It's a jam band.
Yeah. We won't have 5-hour dress rehearsals for concerts for a jam band. We'll have hey, grab my ukulele and sing and play this song.
That'd be cool.
That'll be fun.
That sounds way laid back. The other one sounds too.
It is. I get a little burnt out on it after concerts. I always want to take a break, and then I haven't so far, but I can see why people sit out concerts because sometimes you get to the end of that concert run and you're like, oh god, I hate this so much. I'm so tired of this. It's such a hassle and so annoying.
Right.
Anyway.
I get that, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway.
Right.
Yahoo!
So, I'm excited for you. I want to hear it. I want to see YouTube videos.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I think we're going to have a good time. And I kind of want to do some art on my ukulele because it's just brown. And I was looking at it and I was like, I bet I could sand that down a little bit and paint it, paint some flowers on it or something.
Distress it a little bit. Make it kind of old looking. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Without ruining it.
I think the wood is too crappy to make it look cool and old.
Yeah, I bet you just get something to just distress it a little bit.
Yeah.
I bet.
That'd be kind of fun.
It'll probably distress on its own, just because they're not very big, and they're kind of they don't look delicate, but they are, right? They're kind of delicate.
They're really thin wood.
Right.
So, I mean, you can't do too much to
it. Wouldn't take many pounds of pressure to crush it.
No. You could do a smash the guitar thing with
El Kabong?
Very easy.
El Kabong?
Is that smashing the guitar?
Over somebody's head. Bong. It was a wrestling move back in the 70s, the El Kabong. So anyway, last night we went to a fundraiser in, where was that? Just off of MLK. At a place called what's it called?
Palace.
Joy Palace. I always want to say Lucky Lady. I don't know why.
Lucky Lady.
So it was a friend of ours. He's active in the Cambodian community, and it was a fundraiser for to build schools and educate Cambodians in Cambodia.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was kind of cool, and it was good and horrible at the same time because the sound system was just crapping out. Like it was like there was a couple times where it sounded like somebody just blew a bugle really loud through the intercom.
Were they speaking or was it
speaking and music? And it was the bad Cambodian music.
Oh yeah.
And then they opened up the dance floor and played just regular top 40s, but half of it was playing and half of it was not. So like you get like a drum beat and a little bit of bass, but no vocals or very muffled vocals, and everybody.
I hate that.
Yeah, it was. There was a lot of. It was fun, but it was like disastrous.
Nice.
But anyway, I wanted to mention too. I got this. We met some people last night. You know, how you sit down with somebody and you never met them before, and it's like, I like you.
Yeah.
You're a dick.
Yes. Isn't that weird?
There was a guy there. It was just like from eye contact, I can just tell like that I don't like him. I want to choke him to death.
Isn't that funny?
And it's like, yeah. So it was just kind of weird how you get those.
Did you
vibes.
End up talking to him at all?
No, I ignored him.
Okay, so maybe that was just entirely projection on your part.
No, I talked to him at first.
Yeah.
I tried to interact with him, but he's just like, it's like,
okay. Yeah.
He was a computer programmer, and he was saying how he can't find work. And then I talked to him, I was like,
you can't find work as a computer programmer
right
in this town.
In this town,
right? A very good computer programmer.
Either you want too much money or you are a dick.
Right. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mentioned a few things, and the guy was just like, he kept rolling his eyes. And,
weird.
Yeah, and we're drinking, like they serve us, we have Coke and 7-Up, or Pepsi and 7-Up at our table, and you basically pour your own drinks. And Kanita offers him, here, we have pop here, if you go ahead and pour your own. And he's like, we only drink Coke at our house. Instead of no thank you. I was like, Lottie fucking duh. You drink Coke. It's soda, dude. It's brown sugar water.
Or you just say no thanks. Like, who cares?
It almost was like the guy said, fuck off.
Right.
It's like that. Yeah, fuck off. I don't drink Pepsi.
When we were at, speaking of women's chorus, our retreat, I ended up in like 10 or 12 different scenarios where I was like stuck with people that I had never met. And I've been in the chorus long enough that I have like my core group of friends. And so I was like, oh, well, like someone caught a ride with me, and I was like, hopefully this person is cool because, the other people riding in my car are like my buddies.
Okay.
And then the person who rode up with me, like, I ended up liking her like so much that now she's like the person I sit next to. And like, so about 4 of them in a row were like, oh, this person's really cool. And then she was like, well, like I invited her to lunch with us the next day. And she was like, well, I'm rooming with this other girl, Justine, so I'm going to invite her. And I was like, okay, cool. And I didn't know Justine. And then I ended up liking Justine even better than her. And I was like, these guys are so fun.
Isn't it? I love that.
And so it like snowballed out, and I made all of these people that I was like, meeting people who I think are so fun. And so then like we went to the banquet, like the awards banquet, and there was these 2 girls sitting at this table, but there were enough seats for the rest of us, and so we joined them. And it was like, I was just like meeting all these new people, so I was like, oh, more new people. And then like one of them started talking, and I was like, oh no. She just was like the turd in the bowl, you know what I mean? And I was like,
turd in the punch bowl.
Why did I sit at this table? And then she ended up spending because I was hosting the awards banquet, and so like I was only sitting with them during like times where like they were serving dinner and then I would get up when the show was going on and then I'd sit back down. And like she was one of these people who I had never seen her before.
Right.
And so, but she considered herself to be in some kind of leadership position.
Oh,
and she was maybe like 25 maximum. And she kept talking about the chorus as though she like owned it in this really weird way. And I was just sitting there like, you could tell she like wanted us to be impressed with her and like wanted us to think she was like had this whole inside track on things. And I was just like, I don't even give a shit. Like, I couldn't care less. Like,
right.
And everything she would start talking about, I was just like, this is the worst person. And I was sitting right next to her, and I was like trying to be nice.
Yeah.
But I was like, I mostly just want to talk to these other people, and I want you to cork it.
Right.
And then her friend sat and said nothing. Not one word the whole time.
She was a wallflower.
Yeah. Oh, just total wallflower.
But did she give us? She one of those ones that were like, what did they call it? The quiet judgment.
I think she just had I think their dynamic was one of them just talks at the other one, and the other one just sits there silently staring out into space.
Oh, so that's the beaten dog one.
Totally. Okay. Just like, I'm not even going to try to respond.
I'm her friend because she told me I had to be her friend.
It was so depressing. And because for example, I had seen them at the brewery that we went and had lunch at the day before. And I was like, oh yeah, I saw you at the, whatever that place was called. And she just blankly stared at me. And I was like, nothing. Okay. When people don't even, there's no reaction at all.
It's like, why are you
not
talking
even like, oh yeah, I was at that place for lunch. No, just like, huh.
Yeah. And your point.
And I was like, maybe.
Yeah.
It was so miserable. And the rest of the weekend, though, it was just like one cool person after another. But it was like 2 straight hours of being trapped at a table with the two worst party goers in the whole place.
The one guy was the worst of it. His wife was okay.
Yeah.
She was kind of fun. She talked and he was.
Did she seem aware that he was a dick?
I don't know.
Okay.
But another guy we met, he was super cool. 25-year-old kid. Didn't give a rip what kind of ass he made on himself. He got out there and just danced.
I love those people.
I don't dance. But he got out there and he was. It was almost like we were best friends.
Right on.
Forever.
I love that.
Yeah, so it's like this guy. I'm like, I'm definitely gonna hang out with him again.
Totally.
And but the other guy's like, yeah, I'll just if you're across the street, I might throw a rock at you.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that's the day where you're walking down the street, you get hit with a rock, and you're like, I didn't even do anything. It's like, well, you were a dick at this fundraiser 6 months ago.
Yeah.
That's really
You don't
funny.
even remember, but that's why you got a rock.
That's too bad. And also nice, though, that you met someone cool.
Yeah. That's our friend, a really good friend of ours that I've known for, probably 10 years now. He was emceeing the whole event.
Cool.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. And he did not do well either.
Well,
what happened was they made him sing, and he doesn't sing.
Okay, why did they make him sing?
I don't know, and it just totally rocked his game. He just he was out of sync the entire night.
Sad.
And he's also one of those people. He's ADD.
Okay.
And OCD.
Okay.
Yeah, ADD, I think.
ADD is
attention deficit. Yeah, he's
OCD is
all over it's like
behavior.
shiny.
Yeah, that's ADD.
Yeah, and
that does not make for a good host.
He could not slow down.
Oh,
all he had to do is slow down.
Was he anxious and that was making him speed up? Yeah, that sucks. I've so been there where I'm just cringing. I'm like, oh, stop.
I feel bad for you. Stop.
Totally.
Just slow down.
Finish. But you just made me think of something I need to plug.
Go ahead. I'm jump in.
Speaking of fundraisers, Seattle Boxing Gym, my boxing studio, is having a fundraiser next Saturday night. They're having Battle on Broadway, which is 8 boxing matches, exhibition style. It's all of the trainers, all of the amateur boxers, and I think the first 2 are on the youth team from the gym boxing. And it's catered by one of the, I want to say La Spiga, but one of the, like, there's a couple of restaurateur people who work out at the gym, and so one of their places is catering. And it's going to be super fun, and I'm excited.
So how much
it's $25, and it includes dinner. Yeah,
that's not bad.
I mean, it'll be like on paper plates dinner, you know, not like a sit down, but it's food.
It's a boxing gym.
2 hours of boxing. Yeah. And there's a local comic who is hosting and doing comedy between stuff. And it's funny because when they were starting the thing, I was at the gym working out, and I was looking at the volunteer board for the fundraiser, and I was like, oh, I should talk to Rich, my coach, about doing emceeing stuff for him. And so, like, the next day I went up to him and I was like, hey, if you need an MC, like, I'd do it for free. And he was like, oh man, why didn't you tell me that last week? And I was like, I don't know. And he was like, I already talked this other guy into doing it, who's like a local comic. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah. I was like, well, next time you do something like this, like, I think it would be really funny for me to dress up as like a really ostentatious ring girl. Like, wouldn't that be funny to do it like in full costume with like huge fake tits and just do like really funny?
It would be funnier if I did it,
wouldn't it?
That would be.
That would be really.
Unfortunately,
funny.
I won't be there. I won't. We're gonna be out of town that week.
Oh, that's right. You are going out of town.
Yeah.
So anyway, if people are into boxing and want to go, I'm gonna be there, and it'll be fun. And the comic who's doing it is really good, and he's more like a dude comic, and I was like. I was just talking to my coach. I was like, here's why it would be better if it wasn't a dude. Like, if it was a chubby girl in costume. Like, it adds a different element to the night. So it's not like I think it would be really...
It's not 100% testosterone.
Exactly. Right. And I'm like, that's why it would actually be funnier if I did it. And he was like, oh, no, I get it. I just already have it set up. And I was like, or... if you had both a male MC and a hilarious ring girl, that's even funnier.
That would be pretty cool.
And he was like, that is pretty funny. And I was like, all right, well, at some point in the future, we'll do an event where, like, it's kind of, like, I think of it almost like professional wrestling style. You know what I mean? Like having a big costuming person, and
it's kind of scripted a little bit.
Just doing like funny things in between stuff. And he was like, "No, that would be fun." Because I used to do Chicago League of Lady Arm Wrestlers in Chicago.
Oh right,
and
I remember.
They do that everyone's in full costume, and everyone gets super drunk, and they raise tons of money, and it's really fun because it's more like a performance art piece, but there's actual arm wrestling going on. So I was talking to him about, like, because it's Olympic style boxing, and so it's very like their boxing events are in gyms that are during the day. And I was like, yeah, but if you're doing a fundraiser, it's cool to have real boxing, but you want to give it like a performance element. Right,
because you got to get the people are there for something other than just watch people get their piss beat out of them.
Exactly. And like they have one that's called Boxing
and
Burlesque.
It'll make the next one that much better. Exactly. People will talk about it and buzz.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like I think it's called Boxing and Burlesque. It was called Viva La Bam, or no, that's the Jackass show. It's very close to that. It's like Viva La Bamba or something. Okay. But it was this show in LA that I heard about that was a boxing, like a box. No. Mexican wrestlers.
Oh, okay.
Lucha Libres.
Luchadors.
Luchadors.
Yeah.
A luchador, and then a burlesque act, and then a luchador, and then a burlesque act. And so it was like wrestling plus boobies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is the perfect event. And then they had like a mariachi band that played, and like I was like, that's a freaking cool event. Like, anyway, so. Yeah. These are the things I keep pitching to my boxing coach. But I think that he, like, and even when I went to him, I was like, okay, sad boxing Peggy. Like, the sort of quiet, like, laughy, embarrassed at doing things person in the gym. That is actually just a very specific version of me. You actually don't know the I will stand on stage and do anything for a laugh version of Peggy. Because in the gym, I'm insecure, on a performance stage, I am not. And so
when you got a spotlight on you.
Right. So it's like, I realize that you know one very specific part of me, and so it's hard for you to imagine that I would be really awesome.
I couldn't imagine you being shy at all, or insecure. I really honestly couldn't.
Well, when I'm doing push-ups and I'm crying and I'm like can barely do them, like it's like when I'm in the gym, I'm my most vulnerable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that, yeah.
It's like I recognize that he just he knows me really well because I spend so much time with him over such a long period of time, except that he only knows me in that context.
Right.
And like when I told him I was doing, I told him about the Halloween show, and I was like, well, I'm doing comedy for it, and like he was just like, what? Like he was so surprised, and I was like, it's kind of my thing, like that's what I do. And he still, though, thinks I do stand-up. And he asks me about it all the time, and I'm always like, I don't do stand-up. I do improv. There's a difference.
There is a difference. So stand-up is like you work out your shtick. You work it out, and you work out your routine. That's why, isn't that why a lot of the bigger names, they just pop into smaller clubs to work out
to work
out their gags and stuff. So when they get through the HBO special,
it's all really finely tuned. Yeah, and I like stand-up, and I have done stand-up, and I know how to do stand-up. I'm not that into it. Like, it's okay to me, but I don't get that excited about it, and like I'm just kind of like, I'd rather do a character and like, you know, improv some stuff, and like that's fun to me, and like that's energetic, and I don't know, I'm just more in a character world. But anyway, so that I was pitching that idea to them, and they were just kind of like, all right. Like they're so like, I don't know, they're funny. But Rich was like, oh no, I get it. That sounds really funny to me, and we'll have to do something like that.
Sounds
like,
cool.
At some point in the future,
actually, while you're this is coming up next Saturday at the at the what
Seattle Boxing Gym. It's on Broadway and Pine.
Is there
Pike?
You always get that
you can just buy tickets at the door.
Okay.
It's so low key. I mean, we're going to be sitting on folding chairs in the gym around the ring.
Yeah.
But it's going to be really fun.
So you might get spit on.
It's true.
Or sweat or blood.
And it's Olympic style, and so no blood.
There's the cod piece.
They're gonna have like the funny G-string made of foam over your junk.
Yeah. The sumo diaper. Almost.
Yeah, exactly, and like the headgear and stuff, so nobody gets hurt.
Yeah.
But it will be real.
The foam G-string.
It'll be like standard rules and points and stuff, which I'm really interested in learning more about because I'm just getting to the point where like I'm getting pretty good at like the actual technique of boxing. Like I'm learning more. Like
right. You said you're working on your stance and how you hold your hands and how you pop your.
Which then, of course, I started doing that in my privates with my regular coach, and he undid all of that.
So you're not ready yet?
No, he showed me some of the flaws in that, and he was like, I see what Russell wanted you to do, and here's why. Like, that's good for him, but for you, change these little things about it. But the things I picked up from the other guy about form, I kept, but then, like, having my arms back left me so open, and I'm not quick enough to be that open. And so, you know, he showed me some things about how to modify and how to, like, change the way I was standing to accommodate for that. But I'm getting pretty good at like shadow boxing and stuff like that, and so I'm interested to see how people
shadow boxing is just throwing punches without connecting with
ring.
Right.
You're looking at yourself in a mirror.
Right.
And then you're doing punch combinations and like watching your form and stuff like that, looking for openings. It's exciting stuff.
All right, here I have my shameless plug now. On August 2nd, it's tentative date now.
That's like 100 years from now.
I know, but we're in planning stages too. My car club is putting on a car show plus fundraiser for the JDRF, Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it will be at Auburn at Scarf Ford all day. We're working on getting vendors. One of our members, he actually works for a food, just what was it, like food processor.
Okay.
I have always problems with saying processor. It's like cinnamon.
I had a friend who she would do that with the word feminine. She would go feminine.
It's like
she would just trail off, and she's like, I can't say that word.
I don't know where to stop it. Like processor.
And I used to, one time I was in New York with my improv team. We were performing at an improv festival, and I was really drunk, and we were going to Little Italy, and I was like, little, I don't know how to say little, and I was like, Little Italy, little.
It's like you're starting a motorcycle, just kick-starting.
And it totally was cracking me up, and I was so drunk. And anyway, we went to Little Italy. Little.
It's just one of those things. When you get your tongue rolling, it doesn't know where to stop.
Totally. Anyway, sorry.
That's fun.
Food processing.
Right. So we're still looking for sponsors. People who want to set up.
Cool. And so it's going to be like a car show?
Yeah, car show, and that's about it. Yeah, it's a car show, and with the mayor of Auburn, and maybe is going to let us close down a street.
Oh, fun.
And Scarf Ford is letting us use their property so we can put food vendors on the property.
Nice.
Getting around some of the food laws. So,
are they anti-food truck?
Well, no, it's when you start putting it on public street, it's like there's a lot that goes into it. Like you have to have access to, like, we have access to fresh water, but if you put it on the street, you have to run water, you have to run electricity, you have to run sewer. Yeah, it's just...
That would be what I would qualify anti-food truck city then.
Yeah.
Because they create laws like that so that the food trucks can't
just
go park
anywhere,
Yeah, which is weird because I would think that Washington would be... I mean, Chicago is anti-food truck. Like, they passed all these regulations because the food trucks were going into these already really congested parts of town, and and I think it was a restaurant lobby thing where they were kind of undercutting a lot of the established places, and places were like, hey, like, we pay rent to be in this part of town because...
And they just roll up and
don't pay rent, and they're, like, coming into this really bustling part of town, and that's part of our, like...
They don't have a vendor's license, or they have to have a food license, but the vendor, they don't pay, like, they don't pay to use the spot, or... You
don't pay premium rent when you and then you're, like, the competition level is uneven, which I understand, and but Seattle I thought was really, I mean, we don't... There's some food trucks, but I think the city of Seattle in general has fewer of those kinds of regulations, but the city of Auburn must have a bunch. But there's, I mean, in the summertime, late at night, like when the bars close, there's a lot of food trucks that go out.
That's a wonderful idea, though.
Yeah, I know.
I love that.
Well, when I was up here before I moved here for my really good friend Rachel's wedding, and I was up here for a week, and on their bachelorette party night, we were out in Capitol Hill, and we were out when the bars closed and all the windows opened, and like the windows of, get the pizza at the window, or the food trucks and all that stuff. And I was like, this is really clever, but then it was like the sketchiest. Like, there were, like, obvious prostitutes and, like, obvious drug dealers, and people just, like, whacked out of their minds, and, like, some people that I suspect were probably picking pockets and stuff around, like, hundreds of drunk people standing in the street eating pizza.
Unfortunate side of it.
And I was like, we gotta go. And, like, everyone from the party was, like, super drunk and, like, I want pizza. And I was like, we need to get out of here. Like, this is not a cool place to be.
Yeah.
Like, on Pine at 3 a.m.
It's a
with
good
a whole
idea
bunch
because
of people whacked out on meth.
Yeah, that's the part you don't want to be around.
Exactly.
But the drunk people standing around eating pizza, sobering up before they get in their cars to drive home.
It's a fun crowd, but
that's
it was
a good idea.
There were about 4 meth heads trying to pick pockets for every, 10 hipsters.
That's funny, actually.
So, yeah.
That is really funny, because the meth head trying to pick a pocket, they're sketchy anyway.
Oh, well, that was the thing, is, like, I saw this one girl who I was like, wow, she is so the, PSA for don't do meth. And she was just, like, staring at someone, like, really creepily. And I was like, what's that all about? And she was, like, hovering, like, weirdly close to people behind them. And I was like, yeah, we gotta go.
Right.
I was like doing the perimeter walk around,
they'll cut your pants and let your wallet fall out.
Yeah, totally. And anyway, I was like, I think we should probably move this party to someone's house because, Anyway, but in Chicago, I was living in Chicago at the time, and I would never dream to be hanging out outside at 3 a.m. in a downtown area because, you'd just get robbed or murdered or something. Why would you do that? You either go inside something or home,
right?
Or you go in public transportation, and if strangers are walking up to you, you're generally cautious around street people.
Is it the same bar hours as here? It's 2 a.m.
They have 2 a.m.s and 4 a.m.s, so it depends on the bar.
Really?
Yeah.
And then it's basically for that bar stops serving at 4 a.m. They just can't serve it that much. They have to wait that much longer in the day the next day to serve it?
No, I think it just depends on the kind of liquor license you have.
How much you want to pay?
Yeah, because the 4 a.m. bars are generally a little dumpier.
Really?
They're more like frat bars that stay open that late. I mean, there's some cool ones, but the nicer bars close at 2.
Okay.
And but then you can go from the times that I would go from a 2 a.m. to a 4 a.m. The 4 a.m. I was always like, oh man, this place sucks.
Really?
Why'd we leave that awesome place? Oh yeah, it closed.
Wow.
But that's, I think, because the only people out between 2 and 4 are the frat boy people.
They're really drunk people.
Yeah, so it's it ends up being a shit fest in the middle of the night. But also being that most people take public transportation in Chicago, not too many people want to hang out until 4 a.m.
Yeah. No,
which is fine with me because I want to be in bed at 10 p.m. every night.
Really?
I'm not into staying out late. I love a good house party at my house that people can leave and then I can stay at my house and just close my eyes and go to sleep.
Right.
The worst thing to me is when you're out drunk and need to get home. I hate that.
Yeah.
That becomes a total mess.
Because especially if your ride leaves.
Tired.
And if your ride leaves.
I never had a ride in Chicago. That's the thing, though. It was all public transportation. And so it's cab or get on the bus or on the train, and you're just why did I leave my house?
A buddy of mine, a guy I work with, he actually is from Canby, Oregon, and we went down there for his bachelor party a few years ago, and we ended up, Canby is this little podunk town just south of Portland, and we went into Portland for his bachelor party, and then everybody dispersed. I was left there by myself.
No!
Yeah, I was with some other guy that I just met that night.
That sucks.
And that's...
Did you guys just spoon in the alleyway?
No.
I'm just kidding.
That would have been hot, actually, but... Because the guy was quite handsome.
Oh,
yeah, he was handsome. He's a good-looking guy.
love connection.
It's a bromance for sure.
Aw, tender. I love a good bromance.
No,
How'd you get home? Did you get a taxi in near BFE, Oregon?
I've only been at where we were staying was in Canby.
I've never even heard of Canby.
It's a filbert farm. It's
which part of Oregon?
Southern? You're going towards Beaverton.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Okay.
So it's out that way.
That's eastern. Well, central, I guess.
Yeah.
But we always pass Beaverton driving between the Tri-Cities and Portland.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was out there, and so we only option was either to stay there all night, and just catch the train the next morning and go home, or catch a cab back to where we were staying. But we had no idea where this house was.
Oh no!
And so
they're fired then for abandoning you because that's messed up.
Yeah, I thought for sure. I thought for sure that guy. Well, he got kicked out of 3 bars too. We got kicked out of 3 bars, and
that's really funny.
Yeah, he was also trying to fight people, so I kind of, I was like,
I hate that.
I distanced myself from him, and and then all of a sudden, where's Chris? Oh, I don't know. And then, so we ended up paying $100 for a cab ride.
Oh no,
$100.
Sucks.
It was really bad. One guy, we got into his cab, and I was like, let's take us to Canby. What's your address? I said, I don't know. Just go take us to Canby, and once we get to Canby, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And then he wouldn't take us. I was like, and he's like, you owe me $10. I was like, we just sat down in your cab. I was like, no, I don't owe you nothing. And
some bullshit.
Yeah, but it was pretty fun. Found a little club called Dirty, and it was actually dirty. It opened the windows. It actually
had physical dirt on it.
It was dirty. Yes,
Oops,
there was
sorry.
wood. There was plywood for floors, and it actually had. There was no windows. There was just these metal tin shutters that they would open up.
That sounds horrible.
It was.
Sounds like you were in like a hepatitis shack.
It was.
Nice.
Almost was. But you go in there and it was pretty fun. It was really loud.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, we're about out of time. We're cutting a little bit short today, but we're gonna. We're actually recording 2 today because next week Scott's out of town.
Yeah.
And we will. But in our next episode, we're going to talk a little bit about Hurricane Katrina and lacrosse games. And looks like we've got Poo Clops on the agenda. And Scott's going to give us his review of Red Dawn.
Oh,
remake.
Yeah.
So tune in next week.
Huzzah.
Huzzah!